So when I say Colorado music scene, what do you think of when I just put that out there? Well, like, what's the first thing you think of?
I mean, since I mainly started God, I gotta get my talking right. But so mainly,
talk right, Jeff. Talk right, not left.
You're asking a hefty task of me.
So,
but
hey, well, I demand perfection on my podcast.
Well, we're gonna draw a little short on that.
You're sadly mistaken.
Yes. So since I spent most of my time going to shows and whatnot, since I started going to shows, it was mainly the punk scene,
right,
and whatnot. So that's kind of what jumps out to me is the punk scene, and also the Gothic or whatnot, because those are some of the most memorable shows that I've been to are at the Gothic.
Well, honestly, the same for me, because I grew up in the local ska scene, and the local ska scene was just pretty much just the same as the punk scene, really, just playing at smaller venues, like the Marquee. God, dude, how many times have you gone to the Marquee?
Too many times to count. But what I also liked is some of the I say the early days, my early days. A lot of times you had the punk scene and the ska scene kind of mixing together.
Yeah, it goes so well together. It really does. I mean, obviously, throughout the years of both of them being a genre, really.
Yeah, Potato Pirates, they used to have more ska influenced songs, and they've kind of, I wouldn't say they phased it out, but they've definitely kind of went towards a more defined sound, instead of having street punk song, ska song, and then a hardcore song.
Yeah, and I mean that's how bands go. When they're first starting out, they're kind of trying a little bit of everything. You can say that for every band, but
and then they find their niche. They find what they like to play, and just kind of stick with that.
Right, and I mean, and that's the thing. Apparently, the Colorado music scene was there before us.
Yeah.
I mean, for the longest time, I mean, we were just talking, I mean, Red Rocks was built in 1906.
Which is crazy to think about, but also at the same time, it's one of those, I can see that, when we were also talking about the little museum that they have. I remember looking at it to where, it was nowhere near the size that it is now. And it was just...
You're listening to Live, Loud And Idiotic, your one-stop shop for all counterculture music.
It's it's awesome that we have all this and, more bands, outside of local bands and whatnot, of course. You got bigger bands and artists, with comedy as well, that are deciding to come here.
Right.
Because there's a huge draw for it.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, a lot of stuff lately that has really kind of drawn people to it. I mean, obviously, Colorado is one of the first states to legalize weed. And I mean,
Fuck you, Seattle.
Fuck you, Seattle. Yeah.
I mean, they're around the same time of us, but I think we signed the bill in before them.
Yeah, just a little bit before them. So I mean, that's a huge thing for, especially for counterculture music.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, how many shows do you go to where people are just lighting up all the time?
Oh yeah, and I mean, even before we had it legal, you always saw that one person with their friends around them ducking in the pit, lighting up a bowl.
For real, yeah. You see all the bouncers looking around, where the fuck is that coming from?
They'll start shining a flashlight, and
right. It's they're someone's lighting up.
Yep.
Well, so yeah, this is Live, Loud And Idiotic. I'm Cody.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you are.
And I will stand by till the day I die.
I'm Jeff. No Graham today. He had to go into work.
Yep.
Dummy.
Yeah.
I mean...
Sucker. Having a job, paying for things.
What a dumbass.
But today we're going to take a look at the Colorado music scene, how it's evolved, bands that we didn't know, our favorite bands. We're just going to take a deep dive into all of it, just how, venues, DIY venues, just kind of where...
How it got to here.
Yeah, kind of how it all evolved into today's, Colorado music scene. So
the the bad, everything.
Yep. So thanks for listening, and we're gonna get right into it. First of all, we want to take a look at just how it evolved.
Yeah.
And I mean, how it evolved. You have to kind of look at like Denver's history and Colorado's history, and we kind of touched on it in our preamble. But yeah, it's with Denver and Colorado itself. It wasn't this like bustling metropolis that everybody thinks it is now. It wasn't as popular.
And even then, it's like, I mean, we're getting there, but I mean, we're still pretty small. I mean, but
relatively,
But we got so many good venues.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, like when you used to think about Colorado, it was more like Vail and Aspen, like ski towns, and Denver was more of just a front range city where it's kind of like a way station on your way out west or east. So, and then just so many things just kind of fell into place to where Denver turned into this hub.
Yeah.
And and with a larger population and more people moving here, obviously you're getting different kinds of people moving here, and
it brings in all those different types of genres that maybe wouldn't have come here before then, but with that big like melting pot or whatnot, like everybody likes to say, you got all sorts of stuff. And I will say, like, Denver is a great city for music. We're not Nashville or anything, but also at the same time, fuck you, we're better. We're Denver.
Well, it's funny that you actually bring that up, because I was like, when we decided to do this episode, I was thinking like, what kind of music what kind of music genre would you really place on Denver? Because you do have Nashville, where it's like this huge country music hub. I mean, Seattle's just like super synonymous with like grunge music and stuff like that. I mean, New York, it's got it's got a great punk scene.
Yeah, the punk and hardcore scene,
indie music scene, and
California, you got your ska and your surf rock,
and or like pop, big pop. Big pop out in California. So I was thinking about it, was like, we do really have an incredible mesh of genres. It's not just one. I mean, when you want to look way back, I mean, you had artists like John Denver and like a lot of like country and folk kind of influence. I mean,
but isn't John Denver not from Colorado?
1943 to like 1970 or something like that.
Yeah, he just loved it so much that he.
Well, and so he's often, obviously Denver. I mean, his name Denver or whatever. But I mean, he did spend a lot of time here and had a lot of influence on his like songwriting and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, and so you had a lot of that. I mean, before a lot of people started moving here, Denver was really thought of as like a country city.
Yeah, and then you brought up, I didn't know Earth, Wind and Fire was from here.
Right, yeah, I didn't either.
Crazy.
It blew my mind away. I mean, some like funk band, one of the guys is a Denver native, so that's huge. And it all kind of rounds out to where like what we've got today. I mean, we've gone. I feel like Denver's gone through phases. I mean, you had the big head Todd and the Monsters phase where you got
you had your preppy phase, you had your emo phase,
you got that alt rock kind of like country influence. Then you move on to the early 2000s where you got bands like The Fray coming out.
Getting real Christian rock up in here type of sound.
Right, yeah, and how apparently they're telling us how to save a life and such. And then as you move into like the later thousands, you got that huge like emo hip hop scene.
Yeah.
With like 303 and Breathe Carolina, and then you've got Fear Before the March of Flames and stuff like that. And it's what I love about it is that it's an ever evolving thing, and more and more different kinds of bands are coming in and starting to really thrive here. Just as me with my ska, you with your punk, and I mean even metal. Like we were looking at metal bands earlier because And we had no idea that there were some really good metal bands that were coming out of Colorado.
Well, and it's one of those where you're sitting there trying to rack your brain. It's like, fuck, we're gonna not be as heavy on the metal today because, I mean,
our metal guys at work.
Yeah, our metal guys at work, and also, I mean, I don't really. What I will say sucks is like with the metal shows in Colorado that I have been to and everything. They don't get a lot of local bands on it. I would say it's actually harder for like local metal bands to get recognized as much and get on these big giant shows like these big bills.
Yeah.
You know, as to where, you know, punk and ska, like the headliners, I mean, they either know of a Denver band, like just have heard of them, or they actually know the people. So it's automatically like, I want this band playing with me. And then from there, they'll ask the band that they want on there. It's like, do you know any other locals that you think would be a good fit?
Right, and I totally agree with you. I mean, a lot of metal band, like the one metal band that I do want to give a shout out to is Muscle Beach. Great, post hardcore, like local, just. Out of control, just insane band. They get posted as openers. You don't. There's not a lot of times you see Muscle Beach headlining their own show in Denver, which is unfortunate because I mean they're incredible bands. So I don't know if it's with the promoters that are
I think that's what it is.
And I guess Denver just hasn't had its huge metal resurgence yet.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean. I think it's really down to the promoters and whatnot. I think it's down to companies like Ticketmaster and whatnot that don't want to invest in a local band, headlining.
Right.
But I mean, that's the great thing about where you get things like Seventh Circle, Moe's, and everything like that. The smaller stuff, the smaller venues that, I mean, AEG, they're pretty good with having smaller venues and trying to move people up from there.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, when you get to the bigger stuff like Mission Ballroom, Gothic, Fillmore.
Yeah, it seems like they're less willing to sign local bands to a headliner.
Yeah. Well, at that point too, I mean, they want somebody to come in that's touring that hasn't been here in a while that they know is going to draw.
Yeah, make them money. Which I mean, you even touched on this in our first, in our introductory episode, I should say that that's what one thing that Soda Jerk was really good with is actually booking local bands to
give them a chance to thrive and whatnot, and they'd give them a chance on bigger shows, sure they weren't headlining, but they weren't opening, they were midway through or something. They would actually try to help out the local scenes,
right, to perpetuating a stronger scene, a bigger scene, a more
and which makes them more money too.
Well, yeah,
I mean, definitely, but
yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the long run, it provides almost trust in the fans and the scene members and the bands and stuff.
Yeah,
that there is someone actually looking out for you that's willing to give you a shot rather than Ticketmaster. How are you gonna make me money tonight?
Yeah, are you gonna sell out this fucking arena? And it's no, you're just asking for a bigger venue than this fucking bar.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not trying to say oh yeah, we're gonna headline Ball Arena. No,
I don't. I'm not going to sell out Red Rocks, and right now I don't really care. I want to invite my more than just my 5 fucking friends, and then their fucking 5 friends.
Yeah,
just give me something. Which I feel like Denver has done a really, not just Denver, Colorado in general has done a really good job of making, bringing up these bars and venues that you can go to. Well, all right, man. Before we go any further, I'm going to start us off with our first jam of the night. We're going to play some Muscle Beach. We're going to go Shark 22, Electric Boogaloo, off of their self-titled album. So enjoy some Muscle Beach, guys. All right, that was Muscle Beach with Shark 22 Electric Boogaloo from their self-titled album. Now let's get back into the conversation. But no, like what I think, like going through the years is that Denver, Boulder, Colorado Springs, even Fort Collins, have done a pretty damn good job of opening up these niche like venues and bars where these local bands can go and play.
Yeah, like
and be a headline.
Yeah, like Triple Nickel in the Springs and Black Sheep.
Absolutely.
Black Sheep is awesome. It is a weird stage because it's so high up, but it's like the headroom from the top of the stage to where like all the lights are. It looks small. I remember when I went there to see Voodoo Glow Skulls, I was like, it looks like if somebody jumps a little bit too high, they're going to knock themselves out.
Oh, God, yeah.
But I mean, you even got like Levitt Pavilion.
Yeah.
Dude, they're doing such awesome things like with providing free shows.
Yeah, their free concert series, and they get great bands to play there. Like, not just local bands, but I mean, I've seen the Slackers, Five Iron Frenzy. I've seen so many bands there for free.
Yeah, and
Authority Zero.
Yeah, and they also, I mean, they do paid stuff, but also they can't tell you to not sit in the park past the gates and listen to the music.
For real, so so it's like, well, yeah, I'll go to a show at Levitt anytime,
Yeah. And they got like, I don't know, it seems like one of those pavilions and one of those areas that they just, like, the city invested in the community.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it was one of those parks that, everybody went, like, sledding or something, because it's got that, like, really nice hill, but, I mean, it's also really dangerous because you got the Platte down at the bottom.
Right.
And during the winter, you do not want to fall in the Platte with all the chemicals and shit that's in there, but also the cold fucking water.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But, I mean, and I think that even shows even more how much Denver's become, like, a music-oriented city, is to where the city itself sees that and is investing in that, even though they know, not all of them are gonna be free. Like, not all of them are gonna be like paid. They're gonna throw free stuff on.
Not double platinum album sellers, but the thing is, they're providing you a spot for your band to go and be that band for a night. You know?
Like I know Dendrites played. Did they play with the Specials? No, not Specials.
They pretty much, Dendrites will play pretty much with almost any incredible ska act that comes in. I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, they deserve it. They've been putting in their work for so long. And, that's the thing, is that, like, they bands like that probably wouldn't have had a chance had Denver done these special things. These niche bars. I mean, just like we always refer back to, like, Seventh Circle. And being able to really hone their craft.
Yeah, I just, since I said Dendrites, I just remembered Repercussions too. Like, it's one of those, like, I had to say it before I forgot it, because I know once we get to the segment where we're going to talk about bands, if I didn't say anything, it was just gonna go in one ear out the other. Yeah, just like, I wanted to say, like, but I mean, I've seen, shit, there used to be it was a Christian ran place, which I don't care, but it was a skate park, and they also threw shows there.
Scum of the Earth.
No, so it was right off of 285 near River Point.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was actually thinking of Scum of the Earth. That's actually where Five Iron Frenzy got their start, really, because Reese was like a pastor.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the lingo is there. Like, somebody who, like, led the congregation. I don't know. I haven't been to a church in years.
Yeah, I think we'll go with pastor. Pastor might be.
Yeah, for the lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So, like, he always used to pastor there, or however you pastor.
Yeah.
But so that's basically where Five Iron Frenzy got their start, was Scum of the Earth, like this, like, youth church in Denver.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's, they, and it was like those alternative, like, I'm a cool like skater dude church, you know, like I like counterculture shit, but
I like punk.
I still
and Jesus,
and I still like Jesus, you know. So I mean, even stuff like that, you know, like if we hadn't had Scum of the Earth, we might not have ever had Five Iron Frenzy.
Yeah.
And all the influence that they've had on the actual local ska scene.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's actually crazy to think about. Like, if you didn't have like a certain place where this band got their start, would they have kept going as a band?
Right, or would they ever even played a show? You know?
Yeah.
The beautiful thing about it in Denver now is that is continuing to happen. Like you're seeing more venues and bars with stages that are specifically, you know, designed for counterculture music and local music in general.
Kind of like, you know, you got Bar as well. Bar, they do, you know, it's a tiny space, but they put on shows, and I mean, thankfully they're still here because it's one of like now it's probably one of the older bars.
Like Lions Lair. Lions Lair's sketch as shit. But
it's the area's not great, but
I mean that with love. I mean that with the most love ever.
The most love.
I love Lions Lair, you know. But, you know, it is just like, you know, it's one of the smaller, just kind of like venues, you know,
and
attached to a bar.
It was featured, I believe, in the show Those Who Can't.
Really?
Yeah, because I forget who, but one of the comedians that does Those Who Can't and whatnot is a Colorado native.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So, like, I don't know episodes or anything like that, but apparently, like, the bar that he went to was inspired after Lions Lair.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
A little daily nugget of knowledge.
Yeah, chalk that one up.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's freaking awesome, man. I had no idea. But I mean, getting around to it is just, it's cool to see. I mean, we've had Herman's Hideaway. The you know, the list can go on forever. And
High Dive and
the High Dive, like there's so many places where a band can go and play and headline.
Yeah, and, you know, since we're talking about that, you know, R.I.P. fucking Three Kings. I miss that place.
Rest in peace, Three Kings, for sure. I mean,
because the one great thing that I think that Three Kings had over, you know, all these other places, which, you know, all these other places are fucking awesome, but it had the vibe behind it. Like, the way it looked. I think you were saying earlier it was like your cool uncle's garage or something.
Yeah,
like, it just plastered with stickers and, like, Sharpie graffiti and whatnot. And
like his little hall of toys and shit. It was just awesome.
It had that specialness to it.
It really did. And I mean, and you know, you can play shows at a place forever, but it's all about that vibe, man.
Yeah.
It's all about the vibe.
And, you know, I can remember, like, going to some Three King shows that were packed and then some that were, like, absolutely dead, but everybody was still having fun just because it was the vibe of the place, you know. Like, I don't know what it was. I don't know what... They had it. Whatever it was, they had it.
They had it, for sure.
And fuck you, COVID, for taking it away from us. I hate you.
Yeah, for real. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the HQ, you know, it's serviceable for sure.
Yeah, it is.
But it's like...
It took all of the life away from Three Kings.
Right, absolutely.
And I think I was telling you earlier, like, you know, no offense if you like this type of thing, but it looks like a craft tequila bar to me.
Yeah.
It's one of those you walk in and it's like, this doesn't look like it should be holding any rock and roll, punk, or metal shows here.
Right.
This looks like it should be EDM and fucking, like, poppy white girl music.
Right.
Which, I mean, I love me some poppy white girl music.
Dude, Ava Max is my shit, dude.
It's nothing against that. It's just one of those to where it just doesn't have that feeling.
You almost feel out of place, and it feels so wrong because, like, because I the first time I went to the now HQ after it switched was the Big D and the Kids Table Left Alone show.
Oh,
not too long
I missed
ago.
that one.
And as soon as I rolled in, I was like, I feel like I'm cheating on my girlfriend right now.
Yeah.
You know, it was exactly like that. It was like I just had this wrong vibe. I'm like, I feel like I'm cheating on my girlfriend.
It's one of those, like, it doesn't feel right. And, you know, as much as, you know, we're kind of like, I wouldn't say completely bashing on it or anything. I mean, I do respect the fact that they saved it from being another apartment building.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So, there is gratefulness there. But, I mean, it's just so expensive. And, like, the drinks there are so damn expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
And I could just not drink at a show, but I have so much fun when I have a beer and a shot of whiskey in my hand.
Yeah, for sure. And that's another part of the vibe.
Yeah, and it's like the drinking shouldn't just be the vibe to the shows, but I mean for those of us who drink, it's one of those like you loosen up. For me, it's also I loosen up and I have just a little bit more fun because you know
less social anxiety for me.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing. It's the social anxiety. Standing there, it's like I don't know most of these people and whatnot. I feel out of place.
Yeah.
But you have a few beers in you. You make some friends.
Oh, yeah.
While you're waiting in line for the bar.
Oh, for sure. Or,
somebody comes up and talks about your shirt or something like that, or a patch that you have.
Yeah, you end up dancing with them all night, or just like hanging out, like, oh, dude, you're fucking all right, man.
Yeah,
it's just shit like that. But I mean, and exactly, it's not like we're trying to complain about the HQ because I mean they still play awesome acts.
Yeah,
and stuff. But
they participate in UMS still,
which is cool.
They also participate in so there's with the comedy scene. There's also like a big comedy festival that Denver puts on, and so Three Kings always did it, but HQ also takes a part of that too. So it's like they're trying to do still like bring the same things and make sure that everything that was there pre-COVID still has a place to go.
Right.
We're just bashing on the look of it. I don't.
Yeah, just the vibe.
I like my dive bars, man. I like walking in and not knowing if I jump too hard if I'm gonna fall through the basement.
For real, yeah.
It's one of those. It's the risk factor.
Yeah. Well, like when you're running around the dance floor, you feel like you're actually on a fucking trampoline. More than anything.
I mean, the marquee's like that too.
Oh, yeah.
You see that bow in the middle. I remember I was at a attic show that Truckosaurus and. Bad English played.
Nice.
And we had like a pool of beer, like fallen soldiers in the middle, and it was one of those like you could see how the floor bows.
Oh.
And that's part of the charm of any place that you go to, any old like place that's been around. That's part of the charm of it.
Oh, absolutely, and it tells a story. It creates an aura for Well, I mean, just especially for us, like more underground music, we're used to that.
Yeah.
We're used to these kind of like dingy, kind of like fucked up shit.
Yeah, I don't want to walk into a place.
That has a heart of gold.
Yeah, I don't want to walk into a place being like, I can't touch any of this stuff because I break everything.
Right? Or I
mean, I've even been here and I've broken a few of your pint glasses and whatnot just because I'm not watching where my body is.
But I like to think that the laboratory, as we like to call it, is kind of one of those, just like
it's got a charm to it.
Yeah,
it's not the fanciest thing in the world, but you know what?
It's fine.
Yeah, it does what it's meant to. You come here, you watch some hockey games, or you drink some beer, grill out,
listen to some punk rock, some ska on the vinyl.
Oh yeah.
And it does what it says on the 10.
Yeah, yeah. It's exactly. It gives you exactly what you need.
Exactly, man. So, all right, well, let's take a break. I'm gonna let you pick the first song here, which and let's keep it Colorado.
Yeah,
we'll keep it Colorado because I mean this is an episode about
Colorado and Colorado-based things and whatnot.
So yeah, let's throw a jam out there and.
So it's by a Denver band called the Stick Ups. I really like Faded Glory. It's their second song on the record. Sweet. Yeah, Faded Glory. It's a good one.
All right, so enjoy, and we'll see you here back in just a second.
All right, so that was Faded Glory by the Stick Ups. It's off their Bad Habits full length. So, yeah, Cody, what do you want to chat about?
Well, we talked about, playing in the scene. Let's talk about the bands actually playing.
Yeah, the bands that are actually
these shows. Yeah. obviously, you know, we named off a couple. I mean, you know, Earth, Wind, and Fire was a huge huge surprise to me. But I mean, you know, you got all these bands, you know, 303, you know,
Lumineers.
the Lumineers, Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats are making a huge name for themselves right now, which, I mean, they're an incredible band, so I'm really stoked for them.
Yeah.
Because they, you know, their two albums are just incredible. So I love that kind of, you know, like folk kind of, you know, just outlaw country kind of shit. So, I mean, good for them for sure. But, I mean, let's talk about the bands that are going around now, man. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned the song with the Stick Ups, you know. Got them, of course, you know, we're always going to mention the Potato Pirates because they're huge in the Denver scene.
I mean, you can't think Denver punk without, you know, thinking of the Potato Pirates. Yeah.
I mean, and then you got, you know, a lot of local bands like... Fast Eddie, they're kind of like, you know, rock and roll and whatnot.
Right.
And they're actually opening up for the Dead Boys at the Oriental next month.
Which is going to be sick.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a sick show. I am going to definitely try to get off work for that. And
someone's coming down with a cough, you know, not feeling too good, right?
And then, you know, as I said before, the Repercussions, they're killer. I mean, I don't think it's just Dolan who's from Colorado, because I know I always forget the lead singer's name. He's from D.C.
Right, so there's a little D.C. connection hooking up in Denver, actually.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, off air, we could name things so easy.
It's all about the pressure, man, the pressure on the mic.
Yeah, the pressure on the mic. You know, you got Zippers. They're a good local band.
The Zippers, and they're actually really close friends of yours.
Yeah. They're all beautiful fucking people. I mean, they can be assholes at points, but that's the charm, I guess.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're all kind of assholes, so.
No, it's kind of hard not to be hanging around you dudes for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, talk about, you know, the music. They're kind of, you know, what they've been doing lately.
Well, so they just played the Rocky Mountain Ripper and whatnot. I was working, so I didn't get to go. But I mean, they're not doing as much recently because Jarrett, one of their guitar players, he's moving out to Tulsa.
He's going van life.
Yeah, van life. And then Jake, he works for Denver Fire, and he just had a kid.
Yeah. Congratulations, by the way, Jake.
Congratulations there, buddy. And, you know, Steve Seda, their other guitar player, he's got 2 kids. You know, he's a plumber. I mean, and then Devin Barnes, Jarrett's brother, their drummer, he does fire alarm wiring,
right,
and everything like that. I mean, they haven't been able to do much because they're all just so damn busy. And you know, Tony, he does like clothing and whatnot. So I have some of his T-shirts that he's made, but I mean, I think he's really just focusing on that. I haven't heard from him in a little bit just because I haven't been able to go to shows.
Life.
Yeah. Life has a funny way of, you know,
getting in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wish they were doing more. I mean, because it used to be for a little bit there, they're playing all the time.
But they even played "Fuck You, We Rule" last year, didn't they?
Yeah, the last year that they had "Fuck You, We Rule," they played it. I think they played it 2 years in a row. Maybe I'm probably not thinking about that right. They also just played the Punks Unite, which is basically Tony bringing "Fuck You, We Rule" to Denver because, you know, he was tired of having it in Tulsa.
Right, having to drive his ass down there every year.
Oh, well, no, I mean, Tony lives out in Tulsa. So.
Oh, shit.
But it was just the debauchery of what was Fuck You, We Roll with people being general assholes and destroying shit, like, with local businesses, and he'd have to go around and apologize.
Sorry, these people are assholes.
Yeah, but
what can I do to not?
Make this right. What can I do to not get sued? But yeah, so I mean, I wish they would play more, but also at the same time, you got one dude who's a firefighter, one dude moving out of state, another dude with multiple kids, you know.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's one of those, man, they became adults.
Real fast, too.
Yeah,
Real
very fast. But, yeah, they, you know, they're fun. It's kind of a little bit more close to that kind of, like, rock and roll aspect mixed into the punk and whatnot, which I've been noticing, you know, a lot of those, in the punk scene, a lot of those bands have been getting a little bit more prevalent and popular and whatnot. I would like to, you know, say it's partially because of Guardians of the Galaxy with all those, all those songs coming out and everybody jamming into them. They're like, you know what? Let's add the, you know, 70s back into this.
This 70s like classic rock vibe,
Mm-hmm.
you know, absolutely.
Yeah, and you know, there's God, there's so many. You got with other bands, you got Flight Kamikaze. They're more like pop punk-esque, like pop punk mixed with, like, I would say, like a little bit harder or whatnot.
Right.
You know, Jukebox Hard Knocks. They're kind of dabbling into a little bit more of like the rockabilly country aspect of it.
Right. Okay. Well, hey, man, I've always been down with a little bit of rockabilly for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. And, I mean, I can only think of really one band off the top of my head that before that was in rockabilly, psychobilly, and that was the Insomniacs.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's like Denver kind of like skipped over that, I think.
Yeah, they kind of did, didn't they? I mean, they've like we said earlier, that's another genre that, you know, hasn't really made its
way
into the scene yet.
Well, and I've noticed a lot of, like, you know, punk. I mean, I use the term kids loosely, but a lot of times, you know, a lot of punks don't like psychobilly because it's too close to country or whatnot. And it's one of those where it's like, you know, like what you like, but I mean, if it's good music, it's good music.
Yeah, and that goes back to the introductory episode. I mean, like, you can't really close yourself off to something that just because for the namesake or the genre's sake.
Yeah, it's just because you adhere to this one genre doesn't mean that that's your whole life.
Yeah, for real.
And for some people it is, but they're the people that judge, and they're the people that, you know, all they listen to is like punk and whatnot, but they don't judge anybody else.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, and I mean, of course, you got like another big one is Denver band is, you know, the Bad English. They've been around for quite a while too, and they've gone through like a good amount of members, but you know, they still stay true. Like Gordy's still the singer, you know. And,
yeah.
You know, Vinny used to be a part of them from the Pirates, you know, and you know, Sal and all them. They're kick-ass people, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and for me, obviously, the first band I think of when we're talking Denver local bands. I mean, the Denderites.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just an incredible, you know, traditional ska
and sharp dressed motherfucker.
Oh
they
my
dress
God,
so sharp for their shows.
The drip is real, people. I mean, you'll see it too, and just every single one of those dudes are just the most incredible people you'll ever meet too. Yeah. I mean, Nick Dolan, I mean, huge, Luis, everybody, dude. Like they're just such great people, and every single one of their shows is just so energetic and fun. It's such a great time to listen to live music. I mean, even if traditional ska really isn't your thing, you'll see yourself tapping your toe and just having a smile on your face because
it's fun.
They're up there and they look like they're having a fucking whale of a time, and that's what you want to see out of bands is that like, you know, they're super stoked.
Yeah, it's not
and
like
having a great
job
time
for them.
Yeah,
you know, they're not up there like, I can't believe we have to play this show for you. It's like, I can't believe we get to play this show.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And you love that, man. And then you can tell that they just absolutely love playing that music, you know.
And that like with you saying that, it also kind of like brings to mind the Bunny Gang.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope that they're going to still do stuff and whatnot because it's always fun to see Nate and like party down with Nathan Maxwell. I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely.
I at a random Seventh Circle show, he came up to me. He's like, "Hey, Jeff, you want to shotgun a beer?" And I'm like, Nate, dude, I am always down to shotgun a beer. You know a way to a girl's heart right there. But.
Oh yeah, and Bunny Gang is really cool because they do their own style of reggae.
Yeah,
just kind of like the Aggrolites, how we were talking. Like they have their own like style of reggae that they, and obviously mixes a bit of like punk influence and stuff like. But it's just a real fun show to go to.
Yeah, you could tell that it's definitely like a project that everybody like. So Bradley, one of the guitar players, he was in Rotten Blue Menace. I mean, you can tell he has so much fun. Like when they were playing, like you can tell that they're all up there doing something they not just enjoy, but something that they truly love doing.
Yeah,
and I think that's where you get down to like the heart of a great scene, is you get bands that are truly love what they're doing, and that's where you get the best music. If you put your heart into it, I mean. It shows.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just sitting up there, just like going through the motions, like I am just waiting to get a record deal, to get the fuck out of this town and never fucking come back or whatever. And I think that has a lot to do with like the local ska scene, because I mean, you take a look at Roca Heca, those guys are just having a fucking blast, like total Latin ska, like they sing all in Spanish.
Yeah,
I mean every one of those dudes, like I mean, they're all up there just grooving down, dancing their ass off, and not to mention very sharp dressed gentlemen.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there might be a correlation between ska and dressing nice and having fun.
I mean, you always got to go to a ska show nice and dressed up in a nice little 3-piece or
your little Sunday best, your
little topsiders, squeaking on the floor, you like, and that really does add to the scene. Really, like you see a lot of really great looking dressed people. And I
think that's the swing influence in there.
Oh, totally, absolutely. And actually, we'll get into that when we kind of, because I think we do have plans for diving into an actual like genre history episode.
Yeah. And I'd definitely love to do that, because we don't know every single little thing about these genres that we love, but with this we're gonna get to like actually dive into and like investigate and like actually go through and learn some new things and whatnot, and spread the knowledge, man.
So we're learning with you, folks. We are learning with you.
Yes. There's a lot I don't know, and there's a lot that we might get wrong, but also at the same time we're gonna try our best.
Yeah, we don't claim to know everything, and a lot of this, I mean, especially these kind of episodes, probably opinion based.
Yeah, they're very heavily opinion based, but.
And especially probably with like the metal scene. Yeah. Please, if anybody's listening and they know more about the Denver metal scene than we do, please learn us up, because we want to know.
Yeah. We love learning. We love discovering new things.
Oh yeah. That's half of why we started this podcast, so we can learn as well.
We can learn, and then maybe if you're listening, you might learn a thing or two.
Hopefully, you learn how stupid we are most of the time, for sure.
I think people will get that from the very first.
That introductory episode was that was full of like a total showcase of how stupid we really are. But hey, I mean,
we have fun while we do it. So
for sure. So going back to bands, I mean, obviously the Al Capones are great. Yeah. Al Capones are another kind of like more traditional ska, but I mean they add more a lyric based vibe into it rather than just straight instrumental, which I mean is always great too. I mean, as a ska lover, I love both, but I mean you get a little bit of both with the Denverites and the Al Capones.
Yeah, sometimes that just instrumental based gets a little stale. I mean, stale.
Either side can really. I mean, if you have like shit lyrics with great music, it kind of almost like turns it off.
Yeah, it hurts the instrumental part of it. Yeah. Right,
and just as much as the like vice versa. If you got great lyrics mixed to some shit music,
it's
just like I would like to take your lyrics with this band's music and it'd be a fucking great band.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
transplant it from A to B.
Truly, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really great bands coming out of Denver. I mean, some of the bands that I remember from back in the day. I mean, the Rideaways, they were like this great third wave band from Colorado Springs that I would see like almost every other weekend, And I mean, if we're gonna talk Denver ska, I mean Judge Roughneck.
Yeah, Judge Roughneck. Definitely.
They're like the king of Denver ska. You know, I mean, and they've been doing it since what, '96.
That I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll have to take your word on that one.
And I mean, they're just incredible, and they may not play as many shows now or come out as much music, but I mean, the last album with like D'Angelo Moore of Fishbone singing "Mirror in the Bathroom" on their album, like,
That's when you got that pedigree in there.
Oh yeah. And they're that total like two-tone revival, which I will always hold so close to my heart. And I mean, almost every album you get these amazing like two-tone songs mixed with like really jazzy kind of like progressive stuff too, and almost every album's got a nod to like back two-tone ska back in the day. I mean, doing a rendition of Monkey Murders or and Mirror in the Bathroom. It's great to see that, and I'm always so jazzed when I get to see Judge Roughneck play for sure.
And like with the Colorado Springs theme, there's two that I love. You got 99 Bottles, which they're
right.
They're good oi music. They're not for everybody, but they're awesome. And then Tejon Street Corner Thieves, they've been blowing up like crazy.
Nice. Okay.
I've been seeing them like go play everywhere. Actually, when I went to go see CKY, the drummer had a Tejon Street Corner Thieves shirt.
That's
and
fucking
I was like,
sweet.
That is so dope.
Is CKY's drummer still Jess Margera?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because I know they had like a few lineup changes recently.
Yeah, because this was pre-COVID. I think this is 2018 or something. They played at the Bluebird, which small venue for CKY. Like, if in retrospect, it's like that's a pretty intimate venue for CKY.
Oh yeah, because dude, the first show I ever went to was actually like the Tony Hawk's Boom Boom Huck Jam.
Nice.
At the Once Pepsi Center.
Yeah.
And CKY played a show like halfway through. So technically that was like my first show I ever went to.
Oh, dope.
So yeah, that was really cool. So I mean,
I think I just did a quick Google. It still shows Jess Margera as the drummer of CKY.
Sweet, that's awesome. I'm glad for him. But I mean, the last band I'm gonna just kind of reminisce on is 12 Cents from Marvin.
Yeah, 12 Cents from Marvin is. I mean, I do believe on your. Yep, I see it right under the toasters. Your cabinet full of records.
On my record cabinet, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and they're kind of like Judge Roughneck as well. They don't play as many shows. Mm-hmm. I mean, you'll get them every once in a blue moon, but I mean, Tom and them, they're always such a gas to play. They're kind of that mix of like third wave ska as well, mixed with reggae and dub, and just different kinds of ska music kind of mixed into one little like neat package.
Yeah, which it's always nice when you can find a band that can do like not do it all, but almost do it all and do it well.
Oh, at least incorporate a little bit of it into like the entire album or entire set list.
Yeah,
because you want a little bit of everything when you go to a show.
You want a good mix of things. Because I mean, it's nice when you're driving to have a record, or like if you're playing a CD, which most people use an aux cord, but my truck doesn't have an auxiliary.
So kids, there used to be these round things that you'd had to stick in a slide in your car, and it would play music.
Yeah, and
they're called CDs.
Yeah, compact disc.
Yeah, and if you like scraped them one little bit,
it skipped. Yeah, I just put my Suburban Rebels from the business, my CD in, which they do Deo at the end of that. But
nice.
track 3 skips because it got scratched. But it's nice. What I was going to say is it's nice for driving when all the songs kind of blend together. Because, kind of like if you're on a long drive, it just kind of like it helps go through it. But when you're at a show, yeah, it does get stale. It's one of those to where it's like, is this the same song? What are we doing?
Yeah, like too many slow songs. You're like, all right, dude, well, I'm getting fucking antsy.
Yeah,
man.
I'm about to fall asleep here.
Yeah, or you get too many just like balls to the walls. You like give me a fucking minute to breathe, dude.
Yeah, my brain is going crazy right now.
Yeah, so it's absolutely imperative. I mean, at least in my eyes, for a live show to have a really good mix of stuff.
I definitely agree. I mean, and unless you're doing like a record release party or whatnot.
Yeah.
But even then, like most bands, like most of the record release parties that I've been to I've only been to like 2 or 3 for Denver bands. But like the Pirates one that they had at the Bluebird when they did Hymns of the Wayward, they have a good mix of shit on their CD to where it makes for a good show if they just play that.
Right, absolutely.
They got their slow songs, they got their hardcore songs, they got their kind of ska influence or even Celtic influence with Scott on the bagpipes, which there was a little bit there that everybody found out about black lung from like not just coal mining, but like the lung, like it's not black lung, but it's like a lung disease that Scottish bagpipers used to get when they were still using the stomach of like animals.
Yeah.
But like everybody was worried that it's like, no, it's a synthetic bag. We don't use those anymore. Yeah. Like most of what you get are synthetic bags. I mean, yeah, maybe a purist will use, that.
Right.
But, that man, he can play the drums, he can play the guitar, he can play the bagpipes, he can play the piano, he can sing. That man is a jack of all trades.
Oh my God. I
mean, they called it quits, but I believe they called it quits. I could be wrong about that, so don't quote me. But fuck, how did I just forget he was in a hardcore band with some of my friends from other bands or whatnot, but they were fucking great, and I wish they wouldn't have the same way as Line Brawl.
Right.
Line Brawl, fucking, God, and also Gary, the lead singer, hunk of a man. Like he is built he's like, I wouldn't say stocky. He's just a hunk of a man. Like he's a beefcake.
Oh yeah.
But he is also so fucking nice.
That's awesome.
He is like the biggest sweetheart, and then like when you're talking to him, you're like, man, this guy's pretty cool, this guy's pretty nice and whatnot. And then you hear him sing, you're like, what the fuck? That it's like true hardcore to where it's like,
did I just dodge a fucking bullet?
Yeah. And I do love, because their love for like Slapshot, and he's a huge Avalanche fan. That's why he named his band Line Brawl.
Oh yeah.
But no, I'm gonna try to think about Scott's hardcore band that he was in that was amazing. But when I think of it, I'll find a good point to throw that in
just
there.
blurt it out during some other
implied risk. There we go.
Implied risk.
I didn't even have to type anything in.
There you go. See, you saw the gears turning. They were working there.
Yeah, they work a little slow these days. I mean, they've always worked a little slow, but
I mean, can't be as thinking on the fly as everybody. But hey.
You want to retry that sentence?
Yeah. See, there you go. There's another example. You can't. Fuck me. All right. Moving on. All right, so I'm going to take you in a break here with a Dendrites classic. It's off of the album Fly Casual. This is Never Knowingly Serious. Mm-hmm. Alright, man, so that was Never Knowingly Serious from Dendrites off of the Fly Casual album.
Always a good tune. Always a good band.
Such a tight EP, too, dude. And I don't know. Like I said, I absolutely love the Dendrites, so huge shout out to the Dandy Dendies.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we want to talk about, without the people in the scene, there isn't a scene.
No, there's absolutely no scene. There's nothing without the people who, not just people who go, but it's like the people who make it, and the people that support it.
Right, and that put on just events and put on these shows and make these. So we want to dive into kind of like the DIY projects and venues and just events that kind of propel these bands to
propel them, but they also introduce people to things that they wouldn't have maybe not been introduced to before without going to these events.
Right. So you wanted to start with Seventh Circle.
Yeah, Seventh Circle. So it was originally Blastomat, and it's this little tiny garage for those who aren't in Colorado or have
never been.
It's this tiny little venue that it used to be a garage.
Yeah, an auto garage.
Yeah, it used to be an auto garage and whatnot. So, that's in the actual garage that they used for to fix the cars and whatnot is where they have the stage and everything. And they've done so many things for they've had thousands of shows there.
Right.
And, they really give a place for, people to thrive, kids that are new into it to thrive and whatnot. It also creates a safe area for, people to go and see these, bands and whatnot. And, it's also a good place to, for bands that are just starting out to get going, because they also use it as I don't know if they do it anymore because I haven't been there in a little bit because life.
Yeah.
But they used to use it as practice space too.
Right.
So bands that didn't have money to pay for Rocket Space or whatnot or any of the other practice spaces around Denver or Colorado, you could go there and as long as the time was free and there wasn't a show, you could practice in the garage, you could practice in the basement and whatnot.
Well, and that's huge, man. That's gigantic. I mean, you're not only giving giving these bands a place to go and be heard, but you're also giving them a chance to go and better their sound.
Yeah, and it's also one of those to where it helps. It definitely I would think helps create the scene itself, because having that safe space and also not having a place that you have to pay $30-$40 for a show.
Right, yeah.
It's a place where people can go and have fun.
Right, and it's not only just building a scene, it's building a community as well.
Yeah, because they also have a consignment shop in there or whatnot to where for bands to sell their merch or records or whatnot. So that way, once they sell it, and like I said, I haven't been there in a little bit. What they used to do is they used to do that. I believe they still have it. I'd have to double check on that. But it was a nice place for, if bands wanted to leave merch, they could donate it to Seventh Circle, so it would help cover the overhead. Or, they could sell from consignment and whatnot and get a little bit of extra money.
Right, and so you're not just depending on selling them just at shows.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still accessible. Then that's a huge thing too, is accessibility to these bands, and they're providing that for these local bands.
Yeah, and one thing that I do like too is it was always BYOB. So you could go out. We would walk down to 9th and Federal, grab a 30 rack, walk back over. But one thing that I did like is they were very strict on the no heavy alcohol policy.
Right.
Which is smart, because once you start getting people bringing in bottles of whiskey or vodka or whatnot, that's when shit starts to go sideways.
Just getting piss-ass drunk and fucking shit up, pretty much.
Yeah, fucking shit up or trying to fuck somebody up.
Right.
Yeah, or puking everywhere. God.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I will tell you, that garage, when it's packed, is just one of the hottest places I've ever been.
Yeah, no doubt.
When it comes to a show, it's even in the winter, it's dead cold outside. That once you pack that garage, man, I would come out like my clothes, all of my clothes would be drenched in sweat.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you walk out. It's kind of fun to like sit out there and watch everybody walk out and like just see the steam coming off everybody.
Oh, for real.
It's like, oh man, inside that garage probably smells absolutely god awful right now.
Yeah, and then if you want to, and you don't want to add fucking puke to that.
No, you don't. And some people have. Some people thought it was a great thing to throw in the mix, and no, thank you.
It takes all kinds, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
And well, we got to move on to other stuff. Like, one thing that really stands out to me that lately is the Mile High ska community. Mm-hmm. Like Tarakish really is like kind of spearheaded this awesome, just I don't know. It's turned more into a community than just a scene. Like
kind of like DVRS.
Yeah, exactly, and and just like Denver Vintage Reggae Society.
Yeah,
and I think that really kind of actually added to it. It has added to it as well. But I mean, they do like weekly meetups and stuff where
nice.
they go and have like a barbecue, or they have like a pre-show like get together and stuff. And I think it's just really cool because you see these people out at shows. And you're like, oh yeah, there's that guy,
Yeah.
But with this, it kind of allows you to really actually kind of sit and talk with these people, and really to get to know who these people are that you do see out at shows so much.
Yeah, it helps everybody kind of like create, a little bit more of a family-esque type of thing,
right? Like a actual relationship rather than just like, oh, hey, there's Planet Smasher shirt guy that I saw or whatever, So I think that's really cool, and I think it helps the scene too because at the same time, you meet these people and you get talking about local bands that they saw that you may have never heard about. Yeah, I mean, and that goes double for like other bands that aren't local as well. But I mean, it does really help out the local scene because they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw you at the Denverite show," and turns out that they're both a part of the the Mile High ska community.
Yeah,
and
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, and then they, that you and that other person decided to go to the ska-BQ or whatever that they had, and I mean, I think that's huge. I think that really is cool.
Oh, definitely. That's something that I think every scene needs.
For sure, just like a great, just even if it's like a monthly thing where you guys all just get together, have some beers, and just chat with each other, like, oh yeah, I remember that show, or blah blah blah. I think it's cool. I really think it creates a friendly, more accessible atmosphere for people, especially people that have just moved here or aren't too involved in the scene, but they want to get more involved with the scene.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was really cool. And we did talk also about Punk Rock Flea Market.
Yeah, the Punk Rock Flea... See, that was great just because it helped out local businesses that were here. Local businesses and, artists who, like, paint or create jewelry or something. So it wasn't even, like, a Denver native that put it on. It was Tony from Tulsa. And so, like, he does Punk Rock Flea Markets everywhere. Anyways, it helps like build the DIY community and whatnot, and like they get to sell things. It's where it's not just online too. You get to meet new people, and oftentimes there's bands that play, so it has like kind of like the best of both worlds between like concerts and extracurricular outside of it.
Like absolutely, like DIY artists and just curiosities and oddities and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think like I know that. There were a lot of the oddities and curiosity things at those flea markets, and I think, maybe that might be where they started doing the oddity show. One that actually the last one just happened on October 1st, so like 2-3 days ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to go. I should have. Yeah. Yeah. But I think it definitely helps prop up. Like it, that community is already built, but it helps build it, even further and prop it up and support it.
And make it stronger. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's cool that they have decided to, add local bands on, to come and play while all these people are checking out all these different artists and such to, drive in more, interest, not only interest, but, make it more fun.
Well, and I know they started like trying to bring like, food trucks and everything in too. So it also helps, the like food community and whatnot. Like it's just all around like something that, there's no big name like producer, like not producer.
Yeah, Chipotle's not sponsoring this.
Yeah.
It's
not
Dave's
H&M.
fucking hamburger truck down the street that's down off of like 5th and fucking Pearl every day.
Yeah, and like it's a great place to find records too, because like you get people that are selling, they have this massive record collection that they're selling stuff out of, or it's local record shops like Chain Reactions or Wax Tracks or whatnot that go to these events, and it helps you find out more, like, because everybody loves record shopping.
Oh, it's the best fucking time you can ever have. I mean, I don't have a record cabinet because I don't like
you don't
going
like
record shopping. But no, I mean, it does take stuff like this to really build up a strong scene, and that's one thing I've been noticing a lot about Denver lately is that there are these incredibly fun like side projects or DIY venues like Seventh Circle, and just like great ideas to expose more people to counterculture, art, music, ideals.
And it brings in what you were saying last episode with unity.
Right.
It helps create a better unity between everybody.
For real, because I mean, some metalhead guy, who doesn't know anything about, the local ska or whatever, or the local punk, they're like, oh yeah, we got this Oddities and Curiosities show down at the compound. I mean, go check it out. There's like some really weird fucking shit that you can go and take a look at. And then while he's down there, you can get a fucking Potato Pirate show in.
Yeah, well, and I know they stopped doing the like shows with that because the bigger venues, I think they had it at the actual the convention center downtown.
Oh, sick!
But so what they also do is they do like sideshow freak stuff, like people who are doing suspension with piercings. So it also helps bring in like the tattoo and the piercing community.
Exactly,
which is absolutely huge in the punk scene, like with body modification.
Oh, it's like riddled, like, the tattoo scene is riddled all over, like music scenes in general.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, let's be honest with you. How many times have you gotten a tattoo where, like, oh yeah, man, this is my band. You're listening to like their band while you're getting tattooed, and you're like, dude, this shit's pretty cool. What is this?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, this is my band. We play like fucking Goose Town on Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I normally go Friday nights. I might have to fucking go.
I might have to change up my schedule. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a great way to expand and support.
Yeah. And as I was saying earlier, you got companies like, so Andrew from the Potato Parts, he works for Blackout Screen Printing,
right? And
so he'll help out like bands. So they print a lot of like punk and even some of the ska, like they do a lot of the merch for that because they're shopping locally. But one really cool thing that I found out that he did is you can buy a silk screen that he's already processed and whatnot of the graphics that you want on your T-shirt. You can just buy that from him and then buy all your own shit and produce it yourself. So that's a different level of support that you don't really find from businesses. Businesses most of the time want you to go through the full product.
Right. You're not getting that from Inkbox.
No, you're not. No. And, it's stuff like that helps bands thrive.
Right.
Because when you're just starting out, you don't have money.
No, and most of the time when you're halfway through it, you don't have money.
Yeah, you're pouring your personal money into this.
Yeah, and any little bit of help you can get from just supporting cast is so huge.
Yeah, and it's it's one of those to where it's wonderful. That's all I can think. It's one of those things that it's almost irreplaceable at this point.
Oh, for sure. It really is.
It's it's not just a company investing in you, but you're investing in a local company.
Yeah.
And it's those things that make a community and a scene so brilliant is putting it back into it.
Right, and everybody, not just one little group. It's it's a collective of all sorts of different people.
Yeah.
Putting something into it and making something so much bigger than just themselves or just their company or their band or their what they enjoy listening to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's absolutely huge, and I think all of what we talked about today really has evolved the Colorado music scene.
Oh yeah, and there's probably tons of things that we didn't even touch on that that are huge, absolutely huge, and once we get our social medias running up and going and whatnot and running, we'd love to hear anything that you have to say about the Denver local scene.
Absolutely.
Or Colorado scene in general. It doesn't have to just be Denver. It can be Fort Collins. It could be, Pueblo. I don't know how much of a scene they have down there, but Springs.
Or if you're somehow out in New York or Florida or something about that.
We'd love to hear about your guys' local scene.
Yeah, absolutely, and what you guys do to help out the local bands and stuff. I think it'd be huge.
We'd love to kind of maybe go around and do state by state and talk about their local scenes, and there's no better info to get than from the actual locals, the people that live there and whatnot.
Straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, because that's one of those skating on a very thin line there. If you don't know anything about it, if you just Google it or something.
Right. Yeah. We don't want to do Wikipedia searches here. We want to hear it from the actual folk.
Yeah. We want to hear it from you guys.
For real. So I think Jeff. I think we've really
I think we've talked enough for tonight. I think
so too. Yeah.
I think we can give them a little bit of a break from our voices.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, another great episode down.
We love you guys.
Thank you for listening again. Like we said numerous times over the show, if you got any sort of input or tell us about your scene, hit us up.
Yeah, tell us about yourselves.
Yeah, for sure. And so Jeff, what song are you going to lead us out here with?
So we talked about the repercussions many times, and also. It's funny, we'll have two Nick Dolan bands because he's in the Dendrites and he's in the Repercussions. But
we should call this the Dolasode.
Yeah. Oh yeah. One song that I absolutely love is "Love It or Leave It" by the Repercussions. It's a wonderful song.
That's just unreal.
Yeah.
So Love It or Leave It by the Repercussions are going to take us out. So until next time, guys, have a good time and be good to each other.
Always.